How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to VoroMotors. I'm AJ Hart, here today with another guide to understand your ride. For today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because we're talking about a seated scooter, and anytime a seated scooter is involved, I'm probably doing something a little bit different than you guys are used to. So, what are we doing? For today's video, I'm going to be taking two videos that we've done previously and kind of combining them into one video. I'm going to be doing an unboxing for the ORCA, and I'm going to be doing one of those Who Is It For videos like I did for the BYU, but for the ORCA this time. So, just to give you a rundown of what we're doing on this video, we're going to go ahead and unbox the ORCA, get it all set up for your first ride. We're going to run down some of its statistics, some of its best features, and then I'm going to talk about who we think that this scooter is actually for. It should be a pretty simple video, but it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of just like sit down with this scooter, play with it, test it out, see who we like it for. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and start off with the unboxing. Now, of course, any unboxing starts with, well, the unboxing. Go ahead and grab a knife and cut all the tape open. Once you open the box and look inside, you'll notice three major things. The first is the seat, which looks a little bit like this, and then a bag of goodies, and then of course the scooter. Let's go ahead and talk about this bag full of goodies. Now, opening it up, you're going to see a smaller bag with these two pegs. Then you're going to see this little barrel looking thing, which is going to be the spacer. Next, you'll see this rod with two screws, this silver brace, and then this pipe, which is going to be what the seat sits on. Next, if you look inside, you're going to see this little charger. Finally, of course, is the actual scooter itself. Now, we're going to go ahead and take the scooter out, and we're ready to start talking about the assembly. First, go ahead and take all the saran wrap off of the core and fold the scooter up. You'll notice when you fold it up, there's a locking mechanism right here that you need to squeeze down. Now we can go ahead and take the saran wrap off of the handlebars. Now, before we get going, there is a couple more steps. If you come down, you're going to notice a hole here in the bottom of the scooter. This is going to be where we put that barrel looking spacer. Just try to jam it in there as much as you can at first. Now we're going to take that screw and remove those two nuts from it, and we're going to go ahead and feed that through. Next, go ahead and start screwing one of those pegs onto one side. Tighten it down just a little bit because we don't want to lose the other side by tightening it down all the way. Now you'll notice you can still see that spacer poking out there. That's because we need to tighten this whole thing down. So on both sides, you're going to twist the pegs down as much as you can to really squeeze that spacer between the two of them. Now we're going to take this brace and put it up on the seat holder. Make sure that the screws are pointing to the right so that the lip of the brace is the thing that's on top. I'm going to go ahead and grab a dead blow hammer and really nail it down so that it's nice and secure. Now we can put this silver pipe right through the top. Now, these two screws on the right here are actually going to be how you lock the seat where you want it. Now we need to put the seat on itself. You'll notice this little U shape here on the bottom of the seat. Go ahead and put that right on top of the thin pipe. It's worth mentioning that the thin part of the pipe needs to be the part that's up. Go ahead and pat that down, and then we're going to take our comically large wrench and tighten that down on both sides. Now our seat should be nice and secure. The last thing that you can really adjust is the handlebars. If you flip open this lock in the front, you'll be able to rotate the handlebars to where you want them to be. Now, I'm still really not happy with where the brakes are, so I'm going to go ahead and take an Allen wrench and loosen up the brakes so that I can kind of tilt them just a little bit up so that I have a good view of the display while I'm touching the brakes. Now, that's about everything that you need to actually get the scooter set up and ready to ride. You should also put some air in the tires. I believe the PSI for that is going to be about 36 PSI. But once you put some air in those tires and make sure that everything's good to go, now we're ready to go out for a ride. Before we get into that, I want to go ahead and run down all the features that we have on this scooter. There's a lot of utility within the ORCA, and I think it's worth mentioning. So let's go ahead and go over some of the measurements and some of the nice tools that it has built in. The first two measurements that you're really going to feel are the width of the handlebars, which are about 22 inches wide, and the width of the foot pegs, which are about 4 inches wide. Neither of these measurements are really large, but they are pretty convenient. The rest of the measurements you're probably not going to feel too much. It has a 7-inch clearance, which is more than enough for just about anything that you're going to run over. It's about 40 inches tall with the handlebars up, and about 31.5 inches when folded down. The seat is pretty high on this scooter, so you don't get a lot of change when you fold those handlebars down. And then it's about 46 inches long. Now on the inside of the scooter, we're looking at a UL2272 10.4 AH battery. It has a keyed ignition and a display that can show you the current speed as well as the battery life. It has a twist throttle, which I find really nice for seated scooters, and it has disc brakes on the rear and front of the scooter. On the left handlebar, you'll notice a little green button that activates the horn, and a red button that activates the front light. Underneath the scooter, it of course has a kickstand, and it has suspension on the rear wheel and the front wheel. Another thing that I really like is that the folding mechanism actually has a little lock that you need to be mindful of. When you unlock it, go ahead and push that pin up, and when you bring it back together, you'll see it bounce when you close it. Now the last two things that we really need to talk about are the maximum speed for the scooter and the maximum range for the scooter. We market the scooter at 18 miles per hour. And when you're out riding on the scooter, I know that the little throttle and voltmeter will tell you that you're hitting about 20 kilometers per hour as a maximum speed. Now we went ahead and tested that with a patented 2-box timing technology, and we found that the scooter ran at about this speed. I have to be generic because I'm recording this before we've actually done the test, but this is the speed that we were able to get it to actually max out at based on our little box test. The second thing that we market with the scooter that is really worth testing is the real world range. For this we market it at a range of 20 miles. Now, we went ahead and tested this one as well, and we found that the range was about this much actually. Not too shabby for its price point, and it's definitely something that we're going to be updating on the website very soon if we haven't updated it already. Now that's everything that you're going to notice when you're actually riding this scooter, so let's talk about what these actually mean and who we think it's for.
It's for your dads. That's a little bit of a weird thing to say, but let's go ahead and break it down, right? We know that it costs about the same as much as our Touring, so why would you go for this rather than the Touring? For one, it's got less speed but more range. This is going to be something that can ride along with you on those longer rides, but it's not necessarily something that you're going to be taking out to get your heart racing. This is just to take out for a nice relaxing ride. It's also a seated scooter, which is really nice for our older riders, right? A lot of older riders, they got a bad lower back, they got bad hips, bad knees, bad ankles, their bones are turning to dust. I shouldn't talk too much shit because I'm already getting there. I do not eat properly and I do not drink enough milk. It's a sitting scooter, which makes it really nice and convenient. You can take it out for that whole 24-mile ride without ever needing to worry about the actual strain that it's going to put on your body. What also makes it great for dads is the fact that it's pretty lightweight. You know, you can pick it up and take it wherever you need to pretty easily. It's got a really convenient handle right there on the top. The other thing is that it's not the best for storage. It's still like roughly 40 by 40 in its dimensions. It's a big one and it doesn't fold down in the most convenient ways, which is nice for a riding perspective, but not great for a storage perspective. You want to make sure that if you're getting this, you have the space for it. Which again, an older rider definitely is going to have the space for it. Not a lot of older folks that I know are in a tiny studio apartment, but maybe I'm hanging out with the wrong people. And I think that's about everything that I've got for it. Really quick though, there were a couple things that when we were out for a ride with it, we noticed that were kind of weird. The first was, if you're going down a hill or you let go of the throttle, the display will actually stop showing the speed. It's only detecting and reading the speed as the throttle puts out, which is kind of a unique thing that I've seen on a scooter. I've never seen that before. It's kind of interesting to me. Every time that the battery gets a little bit more drained, you're going to notice that it has a little bit less horsepower. The battery is not the strongest out there in the world, and this is not a scooter for your big dogs. So if you've got a big dad, maybe you give him a cruiser instead. And that's about everything I've got for you, really. I hope that this video has helped you kind of pick out what scooter you want, and if you've gone with the ORCA, I hope that this video helps you set it up for your first ride. There's a lot going on in this video, and I really hope that it's helpful to you all. If you enjoyed this kind of video and you want to see more like this with our other scooters, go ahead and let us know.
If you'd like to see these things broken up into different pieces, again, let me know. Any criticisms that you have for our content is going to come directly to me, and I can start changing it up to make it a little bit nicer for all of you. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this video helps, and I hope you enjoy your ride.